Well, it's a Wimmera report. As you heard a bit earlier, those Southern Mallee Giants have got the fortress going at Hope. And I'll tell you what, the Warrack Eagles, they want a fortress going this weekend. And Scotty Stewart from the Herald has been over there, the goods and services auction. He's got all of the things ready that he wants to get rid of. And he's joining us now. G'day, Scotty. How are you?
Yeah, g'day Wayne. Good, thanks.
Well, it's a big weekend at your Oval and the Goods and Services. The Farmers' Day too, so this will be a great day and a great day if your senior footy side can pull off a win, your first of the season against the lowly D's.
Yeah, that's right. It's another chance for them to open that account. They've unfortunately been able to do that so far, but the Demons must be battling a bit, coming off a big loss to Nil last weekend, and the Eagles are returning from a bye, so they'll be fresh and ready for this contest. But as you said, it's a big. Every club hasn't that. They have that one day where it's just encompasses a lot of stuff, and this one for us this weekend, it's the goods and services. That's right, and as they say, they recognise the contributions of the farming land, and it's basically just a general sponsors day out. So it'll be a big day, and to top it off with a win would be huge for the team.
Oh, wouldn't it be great? And last week you mentioned Nil beating the D's 20 goals 6 to 8 goals 6. Nil have found their mojo this year. If they can hold some of these players and this squad together, then I reckon the improvement that's been made. Drew Schneider, I think, I guess we're going to probably see him go to other football down closer to Melbourne. But this has been a really good few weeks for Nil.
I think it has been stated that it's over 20 years since they would have knocked over Horsham down there at City Oval. You remember those years. Horsham, they won those 10 flags in a row, and they went about 12 and 13, 14 years or something. And, they wouldn't have come too close. They had that year in 2010 when they played them in a grand final. But, I'm thinking they would have been putting some celebrations in last weekend after that performance, because it gave them back-to-back wins. And you look at the scoreboard, and they've kicked off with 9 goals in the first quarter, and they would have been celebrating pretty early, Neil, but you're exactly right. Kids like young Drew, that's fair enough. But I think the coaching staff have take a fair bit of credit for all this, because they're all local kids over there at Nil, and they all just play together, and just coming together from, as I say, the last 2 weeks. They put 2 wins in a row, and they'll be for a good shot to make it 3 in a row this weekend too.
Yeah, great stuff. The Darlinburg boys, the Driscoll names there, the Albrechts. Nice to see the Bone name too. It is a really good local squad. Great for the Minyat Matawa local boys, 7-10-52 to beat Horsham Saints 7-8-50. A boil over at Matawa. Oh, I tell you what, they threw the Saints in the lake.
It was a bit of a boil over, wasn't it? On the home deck at Matawa there, helped a bit, and also kicking 4 goals to nothing in the first quarter helped them a bit too. But they were good enough to hold out the Saints, who were coming hard. And young Mitchie Martin kicked another 5 goals and kicked a couple early in that last quarter. And she was pretty level pegging, only less than a goal separated the teams probably the last 10 minutes of this game. So it was a good effort by the Burrows really to hang on, because the Saints, they were coming, but. Important one for the Burrows there too. Put a couple of game break on their closest rival Stall, and you'd think that would be enough to hold off to hold in the 5th spot and possibly push higher up and around into 4th if they can notch a couple more wins together.
Yeah, I reckon. You mentioned Stall. They got done by Ararat by 10 goals, 18-10 to 8-8. At North Park too, not their normal home deck because of the renovations that are happening over at East Central Park. But this was look, Ararat are going to be hard to beat for the flag, I reckon.
They definitely are, and they just keep going along and ticking over. Don't they? I mean, you're undefeated, so you're obviously going to be ticking over pretty well. But I got Tommy Williamson back last weekend, and he's notched 5 there. But fair array of goal kickers in that 18 that they had there too. So that would be a pleasing thing for Matty Walter to be looking at, a good spread of goal kickers and a good spread through the best players list there. But it just proved far too strong for the Store boys, which they knocked over Timbula, but then come up against Ararat and couldn't quite put in the same performance. But Ararat, they just ticking along and definitely are the premiership favourite.
Going great guns, as are the Southern Mallee Giants at the home deck. I've called it the Fortress at Hopetoun because very few sides go to Hopetoun and come home with a win, and they've done it again at their home deck, beating Dimmy 12-15 to 4-16. A lot of injuries for the Giants out of this game, but even with all the injuries and players overseas, the Giants find a way, and at Hopetoun, they hammered them.
Yeah, they did, and I did see a bit of vision on this one with the Giants, and they just controlled it basically from the opening bounce. Dimmy put in a bit of a poor performance, so might be just going through a bit of a rut at the moment. The Dimmy side with those successive losses, one to Storm and one to the Giants there last weekend. They've never really in the contest, to be honest with you, but yes, the Giants, they just controlled it from the start. And yeah, as you say, they might have a couple more injuries out of that game from last weekend, but which will make things a bit tougher for the next couple of weeks. But they also might be getting hopefully getting some lads back into that team. But that was a pretty important win. I mean, that again, it keeps them a game clear in third spot, and they still have that. They've had their second bye, so they've got that game up their sleeve too. So hopefully they'll be looking to consolidate that top three position.
Yeah, they're going to have a tough outing this weekend. They meet Ararat because Ararat top and haven't lost, and down at Alexander with they've got a couple of big names like Jake Garvey and Jacko Fisher, Luke Marnie all coming back into their side, but Riley Lehman goes out with a major injury. We just heard earlier from Sammy White, an operation on a cork hamstring, which is like a bleed injury, and not a nasty one there for Riley. And Rupert Sangster and Josh Webster, they tore their hamstring last week, so they won't play. But I think Ararat win this match. I don't know that Southern Mallee Giants, if they can just not lose their percentage, I think that's the key for them in this game.
Yeah, it might be one of these games here that they look at to say, okay, we don't quite get the 4 points here. We've still got a little bit up our sleeve over the next last 3 weeks after this weekend, obviously. But I did hear about young Riley copping that knock. I'm pretty, as you said there, pretty serious sort of incident for him over, a cork to his leg. So all the best to him as he come back in there and kicking those 3 goals last weekend. But yeah, look, you're right there. What you say with the Rats, they're going to start this game favourite, and they should get over the line. They're on their home ground. They're probably going to be played in some pretty good weather down there. They're in good form. Got some good players running through that team, and it might just prove a bit too much for the Giants this weekend, but. They'll put up a fair showing because they've played some pretty good footy last weekend. But, look, Ararat for me too. And
Dimmy get the match at home against Minyat Matawa. The Burrows are coming. I think they'll knock over Dimmy.
They're getting bigger and bigger for the Dimboola boys now, isn't it? They sitting in 4th spot there, but as we've sort of spoken about over the last couple of weeks, they've got a tough run home, the Dimboola boys. They play everyone above them in that, around that top 5, and this one's going to be a bit of a danger game for them. And I only say that because of the current form that they've showed over the last 2 weeks. It hasn't been great with those 2 losses, and they need to turn things around. I see they've had a bit of a change in personnel. They've got a couple of boys back in, but they've also lost a couple from last weekend too. So it'll be interesting. But Minyat Matawa will be pretty confident after last weekend and what they getting over the line and that thriller over the Saints, and with their 5th spot virtually, basically in concrete now, finals position in concrete, I should say. Well, I can only go by current form, and you got to tip Minyat Matawa.
And Nil take on the Stall Warriors. This one's a beauty for mine too. Up at Nil, long road trip for the Warriors. Nil playing good footy. I'm going to tip. I don't think it's an upset to tip Nil here. I'm going with Nil for the big win here.
That's an interesting one, this one, isn't it? Because if over previous seasons, and even at the start of the season, you'd say, Nil on their home ground will put up a good showing, and might not come away with the win. But I totally agree with you with what they've done over the last couple of weeks and the confidence levels that they'll be taking out of what they've been able to achieve. And as we said before, those local kids and just playing together as a good football team, and I'll be tipping them too. There's no doubt about that. Nothing against Stall, but just on current form, I'd be looking at Nil.
I reckon this is a great week of footy because the Eagles play the D's at Anzac Park. Goods and services auction, Farmers Day on the go. Warrack Eagles will get their first win.
Yeah, well, I would hopefully agree with you on that one. I'm glad you said it that way, but I won't be going exactly with that confidence. But I do agree with you, though. I think that this is their best chance to get that win on the board. Horsham, they have been struggling over the previous few weeks, and the Eagles have come off a bye. They had a bit of a poor game against Neil their last game, but they've had a couple of weeks on the track, and speaking with Danny Bell during the week, he's putting a few things in place, and he gets young Scotty Stewart back, who's been one of their form players all season. Comes back from that concussion after the Warrack game a couple of weeks ago, and be in for a big show. In Horsham, as I said, struggling a bit. They will go in with a young fella missing who's out injured, a broken hand out of last week's game, so he'll probably miss the rest of the season, unfortunately. But it'll be a big day for him, and hopefully they can get that first win.
Oh, great stuff. Scotty Stewart for you. I know you love your Eagles, you love your local footy, and reporting it in the local Herald. We look forward to your comments next week on Wimmera Footy, and we'll catch you then.
Yeah, no worries. On your way.